Hello everybody and welcome to the video. My name is Miru and I hope you're having a wonderful day. I sure am. Today I bring you the complete guide for Warrior in the Legend of Mushroom. We're going to be covering everything you need to know as a beginner as well as somebody who's got a little bit more experience in the game on how to build your Warrior to be a PvP beast that the Warriors are in this game, right? So let's just start with skills, right? So I'm gonna have on the screen a list of all the proper skills that you're gonna be wanting to. There's going to be obviously a lot of them. You will not have all of them at any given time on the game, maybe once you are a lot more advanced, but here you will have a good idea of what you should be aiming for as a warrior in order to get some decent amount of defenses. So just touching on it pretty briefly, right now I'm playing an archer on this account, right? So we'll just go ahead and build this as well from scratch. So let's go to class. And let's just reset this so we can combine it. We can just build it live for you as well, right? So you will want to go for some defensive skills as well as some source of damage. Of course, warriors will be defensive beasts, but they will also require some way of doing damage. That will mainly come in the form of counterattacks. And the way you boost your counterattacks is by building more damage. Overall damage works pretty damn good, so we'll touch on that in a second. So we'll go with an axe warrior, which is the more offensive side of warriors. The swordsman is the full tank sort of warrior, which is going to be quite a niche spec really in this game. I've never really seen somebody play it, to be fair. It is very defensive. I'm sure it's gonna have its spots at some point within the game, but we are going to be covering the Warmonger first and foremost here, right? So as we already just built it and the evolution is complete, let's just quickly go over its skills, right? So we will of course have a bunch of counter and more counter multiplier, which is going to be the increased damage with counters, a bunch of defenses, a lot of counter damage. We are also going to be having the reflection of basic attacks when hit, so obviously more damage when we are getting attacked. We'll talk more about that later. And then we also have the increased attack by 3% every 10% HP loss, right? So the lower we go, the more of a stronger class, or rather we're just stronger altogether, right? So talking about it like that, right? So what do we want? Well, just like for archers, really, Shroom Shield and Nature's Renewal are really damn powerful. They are basically very good options in every scenario, really. They are extremely defensive. They give you a whole lot of HP and just more healing with the Nature's Renewal, right? So going for those two is going to be crucial at any stage of the game, simply because of the nature of you wanting to last longer so you can counter more attacks, and therefore you're going to be able to just sustain more damage and therefore dish out more damage with those counters. You want to be lasting longer and be able to just outlast your opponent and having them do damage to you, but reducing the damage taken and just having a bigger of an HP pool with those two skills is just going to give you that edge. Now, when it comes to other skills, you will want stuff that also makes your life a little bit easier. So, for example, the attack of the targets being reduced is really going to be very strong, right? So if they do an attack on you, you want to reduce that attack on you if you take less damage, but the attack needs to happen, right? Because you need to be able to trigger that counter attack. So reducing the damage that you take, really damn important. Something else you can do as well is reducing the attack speed of the target. However, you do want to be attacked, you do want those attacks to come to you so you can counter them, right? So reducing attack speed is a defensive option, but it also lowers the amount of attacks you're going to be taking. It gives you a breathing room for your healing to kick in, more regeneration, more of those other two skills we already talked about to give you more total health pool. But you really want those attacks to actually happen on you so you can actually counter them, right? So I would instead really go for easy breezy before the other one option right there. So there's plenty more options, a little bit more defensive ones. For example, we could go for a slime bomb, increasing our pulse damage, or increasing our basic attack damage here with the coin bomb, which also increases the counter attack damage, right? So those two options really damn offensive. Other options a little bit more defensive as well are the stuns or the disarms here with those two other options, but really focus on the tier list that I just gave you on the screen, and those should be your go-to skills for a warrior. Now, talking about pulse a little bit here, there's going to be plenty of good options for pulse. Let's just reset everything here. Well, hopefully I can click on the right icon right there instead of having to go by one, but nonetheless, let's just remove a couple of them so we can just talk about it from a clean slate. There we go, right? So the slam's going to be pretty damn important. The more active skills we have, the better. That's also going to be accounting for our defensive skills. So everything is just going to be boosted by having a good Hydrosphere here. If you have a higher tier 1, it's always going to be better. We also want to be outlasting our opponents, as we already mentioned. So the deer is going to be coming really damn handy for that as well. Then the pandas will be extremely important. Panda, of course, is going to be giving you more HP regen. So all those healing skills and all that regeneration is going to be boosted by this. And then here we have a big broad of options. So we could choose to go with the perfect option here would be to go with the pop. If we are able to get this right, it's going to be increasing our counter damage, restoring HP lost on counter. That is really damn huge. But of course, if you do not have that, then we would instead go for other stuff. Now, another one that's pretty damn good is the toothpaste, right? If you do have the toothpaste, that's going to be increasing your counter by 8% flat. So extremely good option for a pal here for warriors. Of the stuff, for example, reduce enemy attack speed. Once again, you do want to have a bigger breathing room to heal back up, but you want those attacks to happen onto you, right? So it depends on what your defenses are looking like. If you have enough just survivability to sustain everything and you're able to dish back out the damage to the enemy in time, then you might not want to be going for this. But if you are struggling to survive and you don't have enough time to just put out those counters, maybe this will give you that breathing room so you can actually survive a little bit longer. More offensive options, for example, scale damage rider. You could also go for the cat. But those two, or actually those four that I have on the top, you should pretty much always go for those four. Now, if you have the, that's what we mentioned, the pup, that would be ideal. In any other case, you could go for what I mentioned here. You could go for the cat, or you could go for the fairy tail here. Those two would be pretty good options as well, but everything else is just pretty set in stone right there, right? So talking about that, let's just mention briefly the stats. Of course, you want to have a lot of counter. Counter is your main source of damage. As a warrior, you want to be dishing out the counter, so whenever you are attacked, you are going to be returning that damage back to the enemy in the form of an extra increased amount of damage, as counters have bonuses to them, right? Then you of course want some crit rate, because counters count as basic attacks, so the more crits you dish as counters, the more damage you're going to be doing. And in the whole idea of surviving, of course, you want to be focusing on regeneration, evasion, stuff that's going to be allowing you to just not die, basically. Regeneration is going to be better than evasion, of course, once again, because evading something means you are not actually hit, therefore you don't actually counter it. That's as far as I know. So if that is the case, then you would rather take the hit and regenerate the damage so you can counter it instead of just straight up evading it and not doing anything about it, right? So crit rate and counter strike is going to be the go-to main stats for a warrior, and therefore that's also going to be the case for the player statue, right? I don't have it set up because I'm playing an archer, right? So, but you would want to be boosting your counter attack damage and your overall global attack damage as well, because that's also going to be boosting basically everything for a warrior. Those counter attacks, those basic attacks, everything's going to be boosted by the global attack increase. But the counter attack increase is going to be better because it's multiplicative. It's not straight up additive. So if you have a let's just say 200% counter attack damage from your gear or any other source, and then you have a 50% increase on the tree here on the statue, it's gonna go all the way up to 300%. So if you have 200% plus 50% bonus, that's gonna amount to a 300% bonus instead of a 250%, right? So that's what you want. You want some increase your counter attack damage. Here I actually got a pretty decent setup, even though I pretty much just random this once, right? But that's just you kind of just want to have the increased counter attack damage right there. Defenses are always nice, but you want to be focusing on the damage mainly, and you will get the defenses and the regeneration from the gear, the stats, and the pals and such, right? Also, quick note on the relics, there is going to be the go-to here for the first mask, the green one. There's going to be the increased counter, so that's just going to be the perfect best in slots. Then for the blue and the purple options, that's going to depend on what the pets you're using, the pals you're using. There might be some, for example, increase the sprite pals damage, hydrosphere attack, dragossaur. There is not much that's actually useful maybe for the sprite damage if you're using that one, but that's really going to depend on what the choice of pals you are doing. If we talked about a little bit of that, right, you are using the panda, right? So increasing the panda or the cat and deer pals damage as well, those could be pretty good options. The panda pals crit damage or crit rate, as we are using it, could also be a good option. Once I already mentioned that one, but same kind of goes for blue and the purple. Really, they're really situational, not too strong really, and that's going to depend on the pals you're using. Now the two ones that are going to be the main ones are going to be the green one, increasing the counter by a flat 10%. That's insane. And then the books over here, if we want to have more damage on a PvP scenario, then we'll go for the flame book. For bossing, then we'll go for the beast head book here for the 20% increased damage on bosses. And for more survivability here, on bossing, if we're struggling on that regard, we could also use the immunity book. It's gonna be really damn insane, but the other three options are also pretty good in terms of just surviving. But really, it's gonna be coming down to that stuff. It's gonna be the red one for PvP, yellow one for damage on bossing, and then this immunity book for just surviving during bossing, if we just want to, you know, have those immunity periods of taking attacks but not actually taking damage and being able to dish out the counters, right? Now, when it comes to the other options here, it kind of also just there's really nothing too great here, but it's really just going to depend on what you are choosing when it comes to the skills. If you happen to just have the right relics for the skills you chose to use at any given time, then good could go for those. Now, a good one is going to be the Nature's Renewal and Shroom Shield damage increase. This one right here, of course, you're always going to be using those two skills, so this one could be a pretty good option as well. But nonetheless, if you choose to go for something a little bit more offensive, as those two skills are kind of low tier and they don't do the most damage, although they do a fair respective amount of damage when they are properly leveled up, then some other options could be good if you do have those skills. It's really going to depend on what skills you're using. It's pretty damn simple. Just try and use the relic that combos with whatever skill you're using at the time. And then same goes for the last choice over here. If you just have the proper skill, then try and go for that relic. I don't have the last tier, but it's really going to be the same. If you have the right tier or the right skill for that relic, then combo it with it so you can have a better effect on it. So that's a very, very broad and all in all just a complete guide for a warrior that's going to be a beast in PvP. It's going to really counter those archers, really strong archers on PvE, but unfortunately for them on PvP, warrior is the king simply because of that overall just very good kit, counter-attacking a lot of those quick attacks that the archers are doing and just having a lot of more defensive options, outlasting your opponent and just beating them down to death, right? So hopefully you enjoyed that. Now, if you're not using Aptoide yet, you should definitely do so. Check out the links in the description. Aptoide can get you from a 10% up to a 35% discount on further purchases whenever you make any purchase in the game, like for example the Legend of Mushroom or any other mobile game, as well as on an emulator on your PC. Basically what happens is whenever you're going to make a purchase, you're going to be prompted to do so through the AppCoins wallet. There's a whole guide down in the description on how to set it up. It takes like 5 minutes. It's really damn easy. And if you have already accumulated enough bonuses, then you can straight up just pay with the coins you got, the bonuses you got. Those can be used to make the purchase for you instead of actually using your real money. Now, those bonuses scale up by doing things, for example, like using my code down in the description. It's going to give you an extra 5% baseline bonus. It can go all the way up to a 35%, increasing that bonus with active offers that might be going on in the wallet. You can check that out also as well, the video that I got as a guide on how to set everything up, and it can also go up, basically accumulating more and more purchases, right? So if you're not yet using Aptoide, definitely check it out. It's going to be helping me out as well as just giving you more value for your money. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye, see ya.